Well, good morning everybody and welcome to this special Yellow Live webinar from our Melbourne head office. Joining us today is Damien Salter. Hi Damien.
Morning Christian.
And my name is Christian Lydiard. Now we're putting this special live webinar on today specifically for the Master Plumbers of Queensland. So welcome to all of you in your businesses. I hope we can demonstrate some tips and some tidbits that you can take away that hopefully you can apply to your business today.
Definitely. Social media is one of the real buzz platforms at the moment, which a lot of small businesses in Australia are really interested in learning about.
Yes.
And we hope we can give you some very helpful information about how to implement it into your business today.
Definitely. So let's get underway. So the first one is to understand how things have changed when it comes to the marketing landscape. So we use this little slide to illustrate just how simple things used to be, and then now, of course, how complex it is. So if you think about your business, it wasn't so long ago, maybe even 5 to 10 years ago, that you could have maybe an open sign, some business cards, an ad in the yellow pages, and your phone would ring. It was very simple. But today, the marketing landscape has changed so much that it's become quite complex. So you sort of need to be in many places, and social is a part of that mix today.
That's right. Customers really want to choose where and when they interact with you, they research you as a business, and eventually they make a purchase. And it's super important for small to medium businesses all across the country to make sure that their presence in as many of these places is maximised, and that they can take advantage of each of the opportunities that the different channels and platforms offer.
Yeah. Now, a concept that's been around for over 130 years has actually been the sales funnel or the buying funnel. So you may have seen different variations of how people call this, and sometimes it's different. But really this is talking about the life cycle of a customer. And first, of course, you've got to create awareness, and then all the way down the funnel till somebody makes a purchase. So, Damien, how does social start to interact with the funnel today?
So, Christian, it's really, really simple. Digital and traditional marketing have the same customer journey, if you will, where first and foremost, a customer needs to become aware of you as a business before they can even start to consider the product or service that you might offer them.
Yes.
And the value which you might be able to provide to them as a consumer. Social media allows you to cover off a lot of these different touch points in the one medium.
Okay, so traditionally you would have been creating awareness with things like television, radio, flyers perhaps. Billboards, and then as people move down the funnel, they would use a more active form of advertising to really connect, right?
That's right. They might use things like printed directories, like yellow pages. As the internet became more and more popular, digital directories became very prominent in being that low funnel touch point for your customer.
Yep.
And now we see things like Google be one of the big players when it comes to that intent and evaluation stage of a customer's journey, and the marketing funnel that all small to medium businesses should look to cover off.
Great. Now social is quite unique because it can actually play a role at almost every stage of the funnel, and we're going to touch on what that means for small business. But before we do, let's take a look at the 2017 Census Social Media Report.
The 2017 Census Social Media Report is here. We're more obsessed with liking, swiping and checking in than ever before. It's the visual platforms that have led the growth in usage this year, driven by our obsessions with our smartphones and ourselves. Almost half of us are now posting selfies, and that number rises amongst young people like myself. People are now happy using social media pretty much anywhere, even when at lunch with family and friends. In fact, for young people, taking a photo of their food has become just as important as eating the food itself. We decided to speak to an expert about what impact this type of behaviour might be having.
Social media is possibly rewiring people's brains, with every like or retweet releasing small doses of dopamine that leave people happy and craving more attention. Anxiety and distress are on the rise among young people, and no doubt social media is having a significant impact as people feel under pressure to compete for attention online. It's also breaking down social norms, with almost 3/4 of young adults now happy to accept friend requests from complete strangers.
It's pretty clear social media is now a part of our daily lives, with people using it first thing in the morning, last thing at night, and when on the move. In fact, for young people in particular, it's pretty much unavoidable, so you better get used to it.
Amy, these numbers are quite staggering, right? So 70% of Australians are using social media, and a whopping 12 and a half hours per week are spent by the average Australian on Facebook. So 12 and a half hours per week.
That's right. What did we do before Facebook was around? We spoke to each other.
I know, we had relationships in person.
But you just have to walk into your local coffee shop at 9:30 a.m. Any morning to see the heads that are buried in phones, whether they be waiting to collect a takeaway or sitting down to enjoy a coffee at a table. It is now where we go to catch up with those that mean the most to us in our lives, whether it be our friends and family, the businesses that we follow, or the pop culture type pages, which are becoming more and more prevalent, across all social channels.
So this has meant that there's a real challenge, right? Because the amount of people spending time on social has obviously increased, and that means that it can become quite a cluttered space. So for a few years now, we've talked about the fact that Facebook has an algorithm. And a good way of thinking about this is that the average Australian may have something like 200 friends on Facebook. But if you think about your own experience, you generally see the same people time and time again, even though you may be connected with 200. And all of a sudden you remember that, that friend that you haven't seen for a while, and you go and check the post and they are still posting. But Facebook also works on a relevancy-based model, right?
That's right.
So it's presenting up information that it thinks that's relevant, and not everything that's posted ever makes it to your feed.
Correct. Back in the good old days of social media, if you will, it was very much you saw everything that you followed. But because of the sheer volume of content which is now out there, Facebook and other social media platforms choose to try and give you the information which is going to be most relevant to you and you're going to be most engaged in. So while social media usage is growing, the actual organic reach, or how many sets of eyeballs you get in front of as a business, is shrinking really, really rapidly. So we're now floating around the 2% mark when it comes to organic reach for the customers that you, or the users that follow you as a business, who actually see anything which you post.
So to put this into context, if you're a small business and you're running your plumbing business in a place like Rockhampton, you might have 200 or 300 people that have liked your page, which is great, but a very small portion, maybe only 6 or 7 of them, may see an organic, natural post if you just put it on your page.
That's right. And so we know that the social media user base is there. It is simply a matter of there are now different ways as a business that you can take advantage of that. No longer is just putting out the content, expecting your user base to see it, engage with it, and end up transacting with you, going to do a job anymore.
Okay, let's take a look at the next graph, which gives us a sense of how things have actually grown when it comes to social media platforms. So platforms like Instagram have had enormous growth in the last 12 months, almost 100% growth.
Similar to Snapchat, almost 100% growth in the past 12 months. And we know that these are platforms that the younger demographic are really prevalent on. However, Facebook, still the king by a massive margin. And anyone who tells you Facebook is dying hasn't looked at the volumes of users which are still utilising their technology. So Facebook, in the 12 months to August 2017, actually grew by 2 million users in Australia. It's still very much the number one platform for consumers and businesses to be able to interact with each other as far as social media goes in the country.
And of course, when you couple that with Instagram, and Facebook owns Instagram, those two together are very powerful in terms of reach.
Very much so. And I guess the lesson here, Christian, is that you need to make sure that this is a channel you're taking advantage of. It is relevant for every business in Australia, but it's how you execute a strategy and a plan through Facebook and Instagram that really matters. From our perspective as a business at Yellow, we don't actually post anything to social media without having some money to promote it behind it, to ensure that it reaches beyond that 2% of our organic following.
And that's to make it be seen by more of the people that already follow you, or it may be people that have similar characteristics. Now, if we just take one step back and we just think about marketing in general, we can really throw advertising into two very simple categories. So the first one is passive advertising. So passive advertising are all the things that you do to create awareness about a business. So this is things like television, radio, billboards. Social media can play a really powerful part in this, and that's because not everybody that sees your message at that time will need to buy from you, but you need to create awareness that you may have a chance of being selected. when people go to look for you in the future, right? So if you think about a plumber, you might be using things like billboards, or you may be using things like classified advertising in a newspaper.
Might sponsor the local footy club.
Yeah, the local football club. And they're all about creating awareness. You
That's
don't
it.
necessarily expect to get a phone call directly from it. Now, on the other side, we've got what we call active advertising. And active are the forms of advertising where people literally have their phone in one hand and their wallet in another. So it's literally somebody's got home, there's a disaster in the bathroom, and they need a plumber, and they're going to go and use an active form of advertising to connect. So this can still be things like a traditional Yellow Pages directory, if the age demographics fit that, or it could be things like an online directory, Google advertising, or potentially, if it's a planned purchase, things like social.
Correct. So social media is wonderful in this active and passive space, as it can span multiple different touch points for your consumer. So that top of the funnel awareness all the way down to that low funnel conversion or purchase that your customer might be considering.
All right, let's take a look at some of the types of advertising that you can do on social media and how they apply to the different stages of the funnel, so that our plumbers watching today can think through how this might come to life for their business.
Yeah, sorry, Christian, there are 14 different types of ads that a business can run on Facebook. We're going to focus on the 4 most popular and the 4 most effective when it comes to small and medium businesses.
All right, so the first one, local awareness. Tell us about this one.
So local awareness is really about that top of funnel. So very much an awareness type of advertising, similar to what you might have used, say, a billboard or a sign, or even putting your business details on the side of your ute for. It should be a part of every business's ideal marketing mix. And it's a great complement to any of the active advertising you might do, like directories or Google advertising, where somebody has a need that you can fulfill immediately.
Yes.
Awareness advertising can essentially fill that funnel up at the top so that those customers flow down through to that purchase stage in the end.
Now, I guess one of the benefits of this, Damien, is this can be geographically based, right? So if you were doing some commercial plumbing and you tended to work in a certain area, maybe there were buildings going up, you could geographically target your ads to just appear to people that are in that area, which is going to increase the likelihood of perhaps seeing your vans driving around or your vehicles, as well as seeing you in an online presence as well.
Yeah, very much. And because of that geographic targeting, it allows you to make sure that you're putting your advertising in front of the customers which matter the most to you. So unlike that billboard, which anybody in your town or city might drive past, the geographic targeting allows you to say, well, the customers which I want to be in front of are within 5 or 10 or 20 kilometres of my business, maybe more, maybe less.
Yep.
But you can utilise that to ensure that you're being as efficient and as effective as possible in reaching the people that matter to you.
All right, so the next type of one we're going to look at is clicks to website ads. Now, there is a whole generation of people that will really only do business via a website today. So it's very important for a business to think about how they're going to generate leads through a website. And this might be through some sort of form fill or online booking. So what can clicks to website ads do for us?
So click to website ads are ideal for those customers who want to learn more about a business. So they may be considering a higher value purchase or a longer purchasing decision, and they want to research and make sure they're making the right decision. As we know, websites are probably your modern day shopfront, if you will, and potentially your hardest working employee. They're there 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And utilising click to website ads means that you can drive customers to your website who can then research, consider, and transact with you as a business.
All right. Now the next one, lead generation ads. So these are becoming quite popular and they're quite direct, right? So lead generation is all about generating activity now. So I think for a plumber, if you think about maybe some of the additional services that you provide, so things like hot water replacement or some sort of solar type service or gas fitting or something like that.
Bathroom renovations, anything which is, again, that longer purchasing decision.
Yes.
Lead generation ads are ideal because they allow you to capture that customer's details from within the Facebook ecosystem. So your customer doesn't need to leave Facebook. They can provide you with their name, phone number, potentially the details of the type of work that they're looking for. And they can do that quickly and easily. And you can follow up within the time frame that you set to ensure that you've got the best chance of conversion. Lead generation ads are ideal because you can have that a specific call out to the type of product or service which may be more profitable or more beneficial to you as a business.
Okay. So Damien, there's a bit of a saying in marketing, right? If something's free, you're the product being sold. So I'll say that again. If something's free, you're the product being sold. Now, if you think about Facebook, most Australians have that. And when you first signed on for Facebook, you didn't pay anything. But what that means is you're giving Facebook a wealth of information about who you are and what your hobbies and interests are. So all of these advertisements that we're talking about and these different solutions have the ability not only to target via geography, but also the demographics, right? So when we're talking about lead generation, we can target people that may be the ideal customer based on characteristics or what they've previously done.
Correct. It's sort of scary when you look in the back end of Facebook about what they know about you as an end user. So for those businesses out there who are looking to target in a more specific way, you can Facebook allows you to utilize things like what a user has previously interacted with, their age group, what they may do as a profession, any interests that they've displayed through Facebook, to ensure that, again, we're really putting a business in front of the customers that matter the most to them.
Yep. Now, the fourth one that we're going to speak about is page-like ads. So this is sort of about building a fan base, increasing your brand and reputation.
Yeah, correct. So page-like ads are an interesting one. If we go back 3 or 4 years, they were probably the most popular type of advertising on social media. However, as we talked about earlier, with the organic reach of Facebook shrinking, they have become less important. So page-like ads are all about trying to grow that volume of following on your Facebook page. We'd really only recommend them for a business who have some specific objectives to try and do that for a specific reason. Typically, we see more return on investment from the previous three types of ads that we've just discussed.
Okay. Let's take a look at a little funny clip, and hopefully your business isn't approaching social like this.
Forget about connecting with customers online and buying social media ads. If you really want your florist to be liked, then what you need is a store greeter. A baby store greeter. Go.
Welcome to Birchmore Florist.
Oh, aren't you just so cute? I'll have every flower you've got. And that's how you get to be liked.
All right, so Damien, let's move on to some of the nitty-gritty about why somebody may choose to do business with Yellow Pages and using the Yellow social ad solution.
Definitely. So as we've talked about, Christian, social advertising is highly targeted. So we can target by geographic region into your local city or town. We can target an ad to a customer and what they've expressed interest in, how old they are, potentially whether they're a homeowner or not, and the other types of pages that they've liked or commented on. Going beyond that, we have a specialist group of account managers who are experts in social media, and that's their job. They know how to advertise a business through social media, and that's all they do.
So I think that's a good point, right? So here at Yellow, we have a couple of hundred people that work in the different areas of our products because it's very, very hard to be a digital expert on everything.
Exactly. The same way that, that I'm sure many of you out there wish that your customers didn't try and tackle their plumbing work themselves, it's hard to be an expert in a whole bunch of different things. Our social media campaign managers are experts at just that, and they know how to get a result for Australian businesses.
Yeah, and a part of that is the scale, right? So when you talk about being experts at lead generation, it's because they are running so many different campaigns across all industries and all areas of Australia, they understand what works.
Correct. We're highly focused on a return on investment for all business owners out there, and that's really important in the small to medium business space. And ensuring that we're driving the type of action that is important to you as a business owner is front of mind for all the campaign managers.
Okay, so if somebody was to choose to use Yellow social ads, they'd get a welcome call. Talk us through some of that process.
So we understand that you know your business better than anybody. So the social media campaign manager will touch base with with you as the business owner to ensure that they understand your objectives for the campaign, what you want to achieve from a branding perspective, what you want to achieve from a lead generation perspective, what are the products and services which you offer which provide the most value to your potential customer base.
Okay.
They then design a campaign around that in conjunction with you, and there's consistent communication throughout the initial setup, and after go live, they ensure that you understand what is going to happen moving forward, and where your objectives lie and how we're going to continue to meet those.
Okay. So then we use some clever technology and the experts, right? So talk to us about what ad variations are.
So this is where it gets really exciting for a bit of a data geek like me. So many of you may have heard of a concept called A/B testing, which is essentially putting two different variations of a product or service out there and testing which one resonates the best. With our yellow social ads, we actually use ABC testing. So at all stages of the campaign, we have one element of the advertising which has three different components, which are going out to market at the same time to allow us to see which one of those is the most effective.
And this is where our technology and something that's a little scary today, but machine-based learning is being used to optimise the program.
That's right. So the artificial intelligence within the technology actually looks at which of the ad variations performs the best and starts to serve that more often to your potential clients, and eventually then carries that over from month to month to your ongoing campaign. The result here is that we're consistently improving your advertising to ensure that we're always driving the best value for your marketing spend.
Okay, so let's take a look at some real examples now. So we're going to pop up on the screen, Royal Plumbing and Gas. Now this is a business that is running a campaign at the moment, and their objectives is around click to website. So we've got three different variations. Damien, I see there's an Instagram ad here.
There is.
So that's included in the program?
Correct. So because Facebook and Instagram are essentially now owned by the same company, they have an advertising platform which allows us to serve ads across both different sites to ensure that we're reaching as many potential customers as possible. These click to website ads are ideal for those businesses who have that higher transaction value and who want to reach customers who are really making a longer decision and provide them with all the information they need to choose this business.
Yes, what I like, I mean, in this example, they are playing with something that has a longer lead time and it's obviously a higher ticket and probably a product that delivers a good return on investment to the business, so it makes sense that they've targeted that.
Correct, and they've got a great call to action as well. So they've really set themselves apart from their competitors about what they do differently and have a compelling value proposition for their customer about why they should take an action and click on the ad.
Okay. The next one we'll put up is Dial a Plumber. So Dial a Plumber is running a campaign that's around clicks to websites. So they're also using a similar sort of technique around learning more, and it's quite a generalised approach.
That's right. So we can ensure that in this instance, the customer is seeing a different ad variation, or different customers are seeing different ad variations, I should say, and we're able to then see which is most effective, and as we talked about, continually improve the advertising campaign for for Dial a Plumber.
All right, so this third one, and then we're going to look at some of the performance behind this particular campaign now. So this is Hylton Plumbing, a business that's based over in Perth. Now, they're using the click to website, but they're targeting the message slightly different. So it's actually more a call to action about now. And in this particular example on the screen, they're using an ad variation on image. So you can't see it in this example, but this image is performing far better than the other examples that they're running.
Yeah, that's right. And it just goes to show that content can be really important when we talk about social media. So different images and different pieces of an advertising campaign will resonate differently with your potential customers. Using the ABC testing, it really allows us to see which one of those is the most effective, as opposed to just guessing which, I guess when we look at traditional advertising, if you put a billboard up, you can't change that billboard every week. Well, it's not cost effective to see which one's going to drive you the best result. Social media allows us to actually to see and learn almost at a live day-to-day rate.
Now, we encourage customers today to think about the 2-second rule, right? So this is 2 seconds or 2 clicks for somebody to take a meaningful action. In this example, that Book Now button could go straight to a booking form on a website.
Correct.
Something that people can try to do is make that process really, really short. People hate clicking around to lots of different areas. So 2 seconds and 2 clicks is the rule.
And quite often your customers may be looking to do their research and and transact with you or interact with you after hours when they don't necessarily want to pick up the phone. So ensuring that you have as many different channels for them to make that contact and start that conversation is really important.
Yeah. Let's go to the next slide and we'll pop that up for you to see. So this is actually the performance now for the business that we just looked at. So what's incredibly interesting here is that the image variation is massive. So they're ABC testing images, and clearly the one with the sort of thermal image is performing much better than the others. But the other interesting insight for me here, Damien, is the impressions and the activity in the late evening.
Yeah, as we talked about, customers are doing their research and interacting with businesses when it suits them, not when it suits the business anymore.
Okay.
And in this instance, you talked about the image variation. The thermal image that we saw on the screen a moment ago has actually received over 80% of the interactions with the campaign, compared to the other images, which are a bit more generic, which is, I guess, was probably surprising to the business and a bit surprising to us as marketers. But this is a great example about how the machine learning and the technology we use can really benefit local businesses in reaching the customers with the messages that resonate.
And the time of day plays a role in that machine-based learning too, right? So if our system understands that performance is stronger after hours, well then it's going to serve more impressions at those times of day and restrict the advertising when there's not enough activity.
That's right. The final piece of the puzzle that I think is really interesting for business owners out there is that the age demographics that you can see in the bottom right-hand side of the screen. So we know that those people who are 13 to 17, 18 to 24, maybe even the 25 to 34 age bracket, probably aren't necessarily homeowners and aren't people who are going to utilise a plumber. But the ones who are, so 45 all the way through to 65 plus, are your ideal target demographic, and they're the users who are interacting with the advertising the most and being displayed the advertising the most. So another example about how you can use social media to target the customers that matter to you the most.
All right, so big question for you, Damien, around price. So I can see in this campaign that we were just showing, they've had 218 clicks to their website.
Yeah.
We are a Google partner, right? So we sell a lot of the Google products and search marketing all around Australia. How does this cost per interaction or lead perhaps compare with similar results from Google?
Yeah, so we know that plumbers particularly can be a really competitive, hence really expensive way to advertise, particularly when it comes to search engines like Google.
Yes.
We saw not too long ago that the keyword plumber Sydney reached in excess of $70 a click. Now, for our Queensland plumbers out there, in the metro areas, it's going to be really, really expensive to be able to transact with or to appear in front of your potential customers in a cost per click area like Google.
Yes.
The great thing that social media offers is a substantially reduced cost per click. Now, this is going to vary campaign to campaign, but we know that it's a really valuable way that customers want to be interacted with, but it can also be substantially less expensive when we talk cost per acquisition than search engine marketing.
Which is great. It's great news for businesses. Well, Damien, I want to thank you for joining us and sharing some insights today around social media. I hope for all of you sitting in your businesses in Queensland today, we've given you some tips and insights, some things to perhaps spur on some ideas for your business. Social does present a really, really good opportunity, and I think about it as media consumption. So it's something that you need to consider for your business today when you're trying to create awareness for your business, and we know that that's definitely a part of the mix. So I just want to thank the Master Plumbers Association of Queensland for joining us with this webinar today and helping us put this on. I think this is their second webinar that they've ran for their members in Queensland, and I hope that you found this valuable. And a big shout out to Ashley and Summer, who were instrumental in putting this together. So thank you for your time and support today. If you want to find out a little bit more about Yellow Social, make sure you contact Margaret. Margaret, I think, will be in touch and send around her details as well, and she'll be your point of contact to help you in your business if you'd like to learn a little bit more. So from Melbourne, thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Have a lovely afternoon.
Cheers.
Bye.